Alright, what's up, y'all? It's NFP day, but we ain't gonna be trading NFP. What the hell? Just give me a second before I get started. Alright, so the first thing we do when we hop on these charts is we look at the news for the day. And what we see here is we see NFP coming out at 8:30 right here. So NFP is extremely volatile, so you don't want to be trading NFP. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be waiting a bit after NFP to trade, probably like 8:35. But in the meantime, we can like go into my accounts to basically just match everything up. I didn't take any trades outside of any streams, so let me show y'all the accounts. This is the first one right here. This is the 100K account. And then we got the second one right here, the other 100K account. Both in drawdown. Just following the rules. And yeah, following the process. That's all it is. In the meantime, we can just analyze these pairs while we're waiting for NFP to start. But we will not be trading NFP. Alright. So hopefully, because I know some people are gonna get burned today trading NFP. So the easiest way to not get burned is to just not trade it. From my experience, you don't want to be trading it. So I'm gonna do the same top-down analysis. I do it every single morning, the same boring analysis. So for Bitcoin right here, we have a flush right here going on. Let me know if the quality of the mic sounds good, because I have a mic connected as well. So hopefully that sounds good. So what we have here is the context breaker structure 1. Because like I said, when price flushes to that 50 or flushes under all the MAs, like a move to that 50, move to under all the MAs, that's what I call a flush. What you're going to notice is 4 to 5 breaks of structure where price pauses against that 10, the black line, or the 20 to continue higher. So we should expect 4 to 5 of those. So this is the first one right here on a 5-hour time frame. Going down on a 30-minute because our entry time frame is going to be a 5-minute. And we want to expect the same thing on this 30-minute that the 5-hour was doing, because price is fractal. And what I automatically see here is there's nothing to do, right? So even though, yeah, there's really actually, I'm trying to like really look at this, because this could be our validation flush right here. That's the move down to that 50. And right here could be our validation breaker structure 1. But one thing we have to keep in mind as well is the price action right here. This could easily be a consolidation right here because it's moving sideways. So what I could do right here, let me see. Yeah, this looks like just consolidation. So what I would do here is I would just skip over this price action, right? Only because it's been moving sideways right here. Just so y'all can see it clearly. So this could easily just chop around in this area. So I don't want to look for any entries as of yet. I'd rather price make a move, more of a clear move coming out of here. Maybe if it's at the top and it did the move like that, then I will look for opportunities. But right here, it could easily just chop. Let me look at Nike real quick, see if there's any opportunities. Let's see, let's start with the 5 hour. I could automatically tell Nike is not in a good context for lower time frames. Yeah, this just looks ugly to me. Like if I'm starting off at a 5 hour, we have basically, let me delete this right here. So we have a flush right here, but price hasn't did anything after. What I want to see is price starting to make a move to the downside, right? And then at that point, the 30-minute will start to be trending a little bit lower. But right now, there's nothing to do because the 5 hour is not in a great context. So I'm going to stay out of that market. Let's see what Starbucks is doing. Let me just delete, clear on my charts right there. So what I basically see is the same thought process of Nike. Prices reflush into that 50 right here. So the 30 minutes is probably not in a clear context. So what I want is price to start to make a move, and that at that point the 30-minute will start to be trending at least a little bit. So there's nothing for me to do. Euro USD, automatically nothing for me to do. Why? Because I'm expecting overall buys, and just because price is moving lower right now doesn't mean price is ready to drop off the face of the earth right now, because we have to keep in mind what the higher time frame is doing. Look at this daily. We had a flush, right? We had a move pausing against the 10 and 20 right here, pushes up, pauses against the 10 and 20, pushes up, and right now it's pausing against that 10 for expectation to push up. So it wouldn't make sense for me to look for shorts right here where the daily is holding up this bullish price action right here. So what I would do right now is just wait. Simply just wait, because if I'm entering on a 5 minute, price is probably moving bearish on the lower time frame. So I need alignment of time frames. So what would that look like? So we have a flush right here. Price moved under all the MAs. I want price to start to make a move like that, right? And at that point, the 30-minute will start to move a bit bullish. I don't care about this breaker structure right here, because if you know how I view structure, if we have at least 2 breaks in one direction, let's say a bearish direction, if you get a break of a high, the most likely move is to re-break the low, because structure needs to happen on all time frames. So that's what you see here. Price breaks lower, breaks the high, moves lower. Whenever you see price moving back and forth like this, where price is breaking up, breaks down, re-breaks up, so it's not making a decision, it's just breaking highs and lows constantly, that is considered on consolidation. And because of the context of the market being bullish, the consolidation is for the purpose of expanding higher, most likely. So that's my thought process right now. It doesn't mean it has to happen, but that's something I'm keeping in mind. So right now, it's not ready. Let's move on to gold. Gold, we already know gold has been on a heavy bullish trend, and I'm still looking for buys, but it doesn't mean that I'm taking buys all the time. There's times where you should stay out of the market, and there's times to get involved. So, but right now, it's a time to stay out, because all I do is wait for money to prove itself in the market, and then I get involved. Because if you remember, I think like last week or 2 weeks ago, I started watching gold around this area when price started to prove itself right here on the 5 hour, because the 30 minutes started looking clear. All I'm waiting for is the same exact thing. Price is in the flush state right here, because price moved under all the MAs on this 5 hour. That's that flush. And all I'm waiting for is price to start to prove itself, just like over here. And at that point, I could take a look at a 30-minute and wait for the same exact cycle. At that point, I don't care about the short-term bullish price action. I don't care about none of that, because my rules need to be met. USD CHF. Let me see what's going on right here. So overall, I've been expecting some shorts. You can see why. Look at this daily time frame. Self-explanatory right here. You can even see the cycle. We flushed, moved down, paused against the 10 and 20, pushed lower, paused against this 10, pushed lower, and now on this daily, we're pausing against this 20 right here, and I'm expecting to push lower, right? That's why I'm bearish on price. All you can see is me doing the same boring analysis. It's not like fun. A lot of people think trading is this fun thing where you're taking trades all the time, back and forth. And that's the problem. A lot of people don't have a filtering process on when to take trades. This 5 hour right here. Let me delete all this. Let me actually delete all the previous drawings. I don't need that right there. So I can just have a clear chart right here. So what I noticed right here is price flushed right at this moment. So it's the same thing that I'm expecting with the other ones that aren't ready. Simply, I just need a move to start proving itself on this 5 hour. And at the point, 30-minute will start to be trending a bit more. Even though it already started a bearish trend, I'm not interested in this price action yet because of the context of where price is on a higher time frame. So you see how that's a lot of waiting for me to wait for price to move, because that's a 5 hour time frame. Each one of these candlesticks is 5 hours, right? And during back testing, that takes a short amount of time. So that's something you have to recognize as well. USD JPY. So we started moving a little bit bullish on this context time frame, but let's look at the story on the higher time frame real quick. Well, the daily time frame is moving bearish with multiple breaks of structure, right? We had a flush right here. Price came down, pulsed against that 10, pushed lower, and now we look like we can potentially reflush right here, right? So because price is showing me bearish price action right now on this daily time frame, and then the 5 hours showing me bullish on price action, what do I do? I'm simply just gonna ignore this price action, because there's time frames that are clashing with each other, time frames that are not aligning. So there's no need to force anything when I don't know what price is really gonna do. I never know what price is really gonna do, but it's all about probabilities, and the probability for this market is to move lower, and it doesn't make sense for me to look for buys from my system, because my system relies on getting involved in trends, and that's how I make most of the money, and that's how it covers any type of losses, any previous work, because all I'm doing is clicking buttons. It's not a lot of work. Either I win, I lose, or take a break even. That's it. It's not a lot of work when you actually do the initial work at first, but when it's time for the execution, it's not a lot of work. So US30, I do feel like US30 may be ready for a bullish trend. Why? like even though I started from the daily from the other ones, we have to keep in mind that US 30, stuff like US 30, gold, indices, stuff like that, overall they move bullish, right? Like, and you can see that clearly with a weekly. So in this case, I'm gonna use a weekly to establish this direction because US 30 is a market that just goes up, right? And I understood that when I was looking for shorts before, that it was just short-term shorts based on this daily, right? And the fact that the daily is starting to move higher, right? Yes, it's getting caught by this on this 50, and I could wait a little bit more, but I like how the weekly did this structure. You remember how I talk about when you have multiple breaks in one direction, right? If you have a break of a low, the most likely target is for price to move higher. And the same thing in the bear scenario. I talk about this before in my streams or on my YouTube videos. I don't talk about it too much, but I have talked about it. But that's what the weekly is doing. Multiple breaks of structure. We break lower, and now it's starting to prove itself by moving higher. It's been moving higher for a bit. So instead of using the daily, I could focus on the weekly and then match it up with this 5-hour. But let's see right here. On this 5-hour, I need to see a nice cycle. A cycle happening, and it has to look clear. So I'm gonna label this real quick. And if it doesn't look clear on the 5-minute, I'm gonna ignore it. But I'm gonna label this right here. So what we have here is price moved under right here. I'll consider this a flush right here. Price moved higher. This whole thing right here, since it's like it came back in, this whole thing right here up until this point can be considered the context breaker structure 1. This could be the context breaker structure 2. And then from that point, I could look at this 30-minute to see what's going on. Does it look clear for a trend? For the trend that's happening. All right. So now all I have to do is just analyze what's going on. I want to see the same thing that's on the 5-hour happening on this 30-minute. So what do we have here? We have this validation flush where price came to that 50, came under the MAs. Price pushed up like that. That's something I like to see. And what I want to see here is I want to see a pause. So after this candle closes in the next 20 minutes, I want another candle to print, right? And at that point, I could take a look at a 5-minute and see if it looks clear. Actually, I ain't gonna lie. Me looking at the 5-minute so early, I don't like these wide ranges. These wide ranges from this low to this high right here, I don't really like that wide range. So instead, what I'm gonna do is, instead of waiting for price to do that, I'm gonna wait for price to actually make a new range. So come out of this overall high, then do the pause. Yeah. Yeah, that would look a lot better if price came out of this overall range, came down and paused, and to make that setup on a lower time frame. So I'm gonna actually put it in green so I can actually watch if it wants to do that. And put this at the top. This is the same thing. I'm gonna put this at the top as well. Let's look at Meta. So Meta, let's look at what the daily is doing. The daily, we did this. You could look at it like how I did for the for US 30 as well for Meta. Just because of how the 5-hour is moving, so potentially can start something up. So let me just label this right here. So what have we started? So price came right here. I wouldn't consider this the flush right here, only because price just wicked that 50 and then instantly shot up. Usually a flush is gonna play around a little bit. If it was a real flush before shooting up, it's not gonna just get bought back up. So I would consider this like a one of the context breaks of structure. This is where I would consider the flush right here. And then price started to move right here. Let me delete all this extra stuff on the chart. Just like that. And then we have the first one. And then this is creating the third one right here. Yeah, this actually looks, the movement actually does look clear. Let's see, what is the 30 minute? Yeah, the 30 minute. Yeah, I missed something right here. Actually, technically, I didn't miss anything because I was waiting for after NFP. Yeah, this looks clear. So in the 30 minute, what we have here is we have the validation flush. We have the validation break of structure 1. And price ended up moving. There was probably a good opportunity right here, but it's already moving. So what I gotta do is wait for this candle to basically print. Another candle prints after before taking out the previous candle's high as it pauses against that 10 or 20. And that's where I can look at the 5 minute for opportunities. So yeah, this looks clear. There's not no large range. You just small, medium ranges. So just notice something, like even though price can set up a great opportunity on US 30, just notice how like there's a big difference between, from my experience though, there's a big difference between a larger range entering and just a smaller range to work with. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the one I'm used to seeing, because I haven't tested these on large range, and I have traded large ranges before and they don't really work out. Maybe in the future, if I test large ranges, maybe there's a variable I need to consider. I'll add it another time, but for now I'm gonna ignore large ranges. Yeah, so the ones I'm gonna be looking at is definitely Meta. Did I say Bitcoin today? No, I said I could watch Bitcoin. I ain't gonna lie, I low-key feel like Bitcoin may chop around the whole session, but I'm gonna keep it in green just in case it does shoot out of this range. But I'm gonna keep my eye mostly on Meta. The only thing is I won't be able to enter any of the Meta for my funded accounts, only my Darwin X account, but it's still good since I'm trying to build a track record out of that. So I hope y'all can see like every day, even though the markets on my list are here, technically only 2 of the markets actually look clear, because you got a US 30 and DJ 30 is the same thing. Bitcoin, it's not really completely ready, but I'll eye it. But technically it's like 2 of them may set up, but the one that looks the best is Meta out of all of them. Out of all these pairs I analyzed right here, only one I'm really looking at. So you see how I'm saying, like, I don't come to the given market already expecting a trade or anything like that. Except I'm the thing I'm expecting is actually not to trade. Like, I do the same thing over and over so much that I automatically expect that I'm not going to get a trade for the day. And if I do get a trade, okay, it's cool. So one thing is, like, when you're trading, you just have to be aware about what's going around. Like, and that's what I talk about, just having a plan in mind. Like, a good example of this is when I first started trading. This was around my demo account days where I was just trading demo. Um and I didn't have like a set system in mind. And I was trading this one time. I even have a Snapchat story. And I placed the trade. I didn't. Now that I look back at it, I know it was news because price had ended up spiking up at the last minute around like 2 o'clock, and I didn't even know what happened. It just spiked up in the other direction. But good thing it was a demo account. But I can guarantee you, looking back at it, it was probably some news, red news. And probably there was somebody today. I don't even know if news did anything today. I don't even think new like. Let me see. Maybe on the lower time frame, there was something that happened. 8:30. Yeah, there was a spike. So probably somebody that was unaware of news, um, probably placed a trade at that exact time, and then they probably lost. They probably got slipped. So they imagine risking, like, most traders even risk high in the first place. Imagine somebody risking 10% of their account, because you got to keep in mind most traders don't got no risk management. So somebody probably risked 10% of their account and got slipped, and now they're down 20%. Stuff like that does happen. So you have to take these measures to ensure things like that don't happen to you, because you're responsible for whatever happens to you in the market. Because you will never see me online complaining about if I took a loss or none of that, because you got to understand you took the risk on a particular trade. That's all it is. That's all it is. My only focus is just gaining this capital, so that I don't really need to place trades. Like, I don't really need to place trades often because the capital is still a decent amount I have. But it's still better to keep getting capital and keep improving. While I wait for this, I'm gonna check the other markets again for a few different other time frames, so I might be able to get a challenge trade in, because I haven't placed any challenge trade in probably like a week. So if there's another opportunity on a different time frames, I'll probably take it. That way I could potentially get funded while I'm waiting. But yeah. Um I could tell that this wouldn't be good for any entries. Not a 1 minute. Even though it's like for 30 minutes, it's doing a setup right here. But the thing is, price consolidated at the top right here. So it could be like it would be like basically the same thought process. So no matter how I put it, I can't really like rush myself basically, because even if I try to look at this from a 30-minute entry angle, right? Where price came to that 50, because my entry usually comes down to that 50 right here, and then it sets up based on a few other time frame, and you can theoretically say this was an entry. But the thing is, the context of what the market is doing right here is still consolidating, which actually lines up with why I'm not taking any entries for a 5-minute time frame. So I hope y'all see that. Like, I can't really rush anything, even if I wanted to trade a different time frame, because there's multiple things involved. Come on, market. Load with my tools. All right, so the 30-minute is starting to move higher right here. Let me see what's going on a lower time frame. So I'm trying to look at this from a 1-minute perspective, because there might be something here from a 1-minute perspective if I'm entering a trade for my challenge. So if I'm using like a 30-minute as my highest like time frame, what I notice is this is the flush right here, and then price started to move. That as my like context time frame. And if I go somewhere like on a 6-minute time frame, it wouldn't look too bad if price can like basically pause against on the 10, and at that point there's probably like a good 1-minute entry at that point. I don't know why TradingView is taking so long to load everything up, but yeah, I can tell like there would probably be like a good opportunity for like a 1-minute trade to watch. But yeah, either way, price is breaking up like how I wanted it to for my own entry. So it just depends on what price is really doing. That's how I make my decisions. But yeah, I'm gonna move this higher, because now they're both looking even better. Bitcoin, yeah, move this up here, and then I'm not gonna analyze any stocks, because I can't trade stocks either way on my challenges or anything like that. Euro USD, no matter how I put it, Euro USD wouldn't be ready for any time frame at all. Yeah, neither gold or CH, none of these would be ready. Yeah, not even this. Like, you can, like, there is a setup happening like for a 5-hour entry, move to the 50, came down and then paused. But the problem is, if you look at the context of what the market was doing before, if you look right here, it was consolidating before. So I don't want to get involved right here, because it can easily chop me out. I want clarity. Yeah. Yeah. So we do got some time before anything really happens or potentially happens. So like I said, I'm gonna be watching the lower time frames, but for potential entries for the challenge, and I'm just gonna keep in mind when should I potentially go back on the higher time frames to look to see if my regular entry time frame is ready, because I have to wait for this to close. This is gonna close at 9 o'clock for both of these, basically the same expectation. And then after that, we need another candle to print, which is going to take another 30 minutes. So probably around 9:30 is when, if everything is setting up according to what I'm expecting, it should be ready around 9:30. So that's when I'm expecting, okay, let me check the higher time frames. So that's what's going on in my head. So for now, I'm gonna look at this market, not Meta, because I can't trade Meta, but I'm gonna look at US30 from the perspective of if somebody wanted to trade a 1 minute time frame. So all I'm waiting for is this on the 6 minute as a validation for the 1 minute. I'm waiting for price to pause against the 10 or 20 because we can see the flush. It's right here as well. It actually lines up, flush there. Let's see one other thing. Let me see how the spreads look too on the lower time frames. I haven't traded the Effexify. I still have my Effexify challenge account. If you all watch my challenge videos, I haven't really posted it much because I'm so close to passing on with phase 2 on this for this challenge. So I'm trying to focus on this one before I focus on the Effexify because I'm in drawdown for that one, deep drawdown. So let me see what the spread's looking like. Where is US30? I know it's the spread looking like. Yeah, it ain't bad. And spreads ain't bad. Yeah, it ain't bad. Okay. So yeah, if there's something that happens, I'll take that trade. I'll watch it. I'll watch it. Make sure y'all stay tuned for video coming on Sunday. It's gonna be breaking down the trades that I took in April. I lost around like on 1,300 across on both my accounts, and it's just me breaking down my trades. It was also good for me because it also lines up with my monthly trade review. Because as a trader, you need to have a journal and you need to be reviewing those trades you take every week, every month, and every quarter, every year. So me doing that video also helps me as well because it's a part of my review. So it's a win-win situation. You can basically learn, not in terms of strategy, but if you can relate to any mistakes or anything you can improve on, or if it can help you with just realizing that, okay, this is how you journal, and so you can do it for yourself. And I'm gonna make that a habit too, to just record at the end of. I'd rather record it at the end of the month. The trade reviews, much easier because I don't necessarily have to have a trade in the week, but it's better if I do it at the end of the month. Match it up with the live streams and everything. Yeah. let me talk about when I first started to take these like this year when I started this $500,000 challenge series. My whole goal was to like trade all these accounts at the same time on a trade copier, and I was doing that, and it all got ruined when um my funded FX wanted to change their rules about having a trade copier with Match Trader. Because I think you can have it when you if you have Trade Locker, but I can't get Trade Locker. It's not for people in the U.S. So like that really messed up my plans. But at the end of the day, like I didn't waste no time complaining about it because it is what it is. Instead, I just had to come up with a plan to really trade them. So I was like, let me just trade them separately. Because if I was gonna trade them separately in the first place, I might as well just had bought one account and traded it and then waited it until I passed. But my whole goal was to buy that whole 500,000, trade them at the same time, and either I lose all of them at the same time or I pass all of them at the same time. So definitely when I whatever happens with the challenges, either if I can get some pass, all of them pass, whatever, the next few set of challenges that I'm gonna get, I'm gonna try to make sure I can actually trade copy because I'm trying to gain like a crazy amount of funding this year. And the only way for me to get that is to really like go aggressive in turn like with my risk and me trading them all at the same time. And keep in mind you can go aggressive on challenges if you want to. If you did the work prior, you can go aggressive on challenges, but you have to keep in mind going aggressive on challenges. Willing, you're also can lose those challenges, and you have to be willing to lose those challenges. Because if you're not willing to lose those challenges, that's what's gonna creep up the emotional mistakes. So you have to make sure you're putting things in place to minimize any potential emotional mistakes. So me doing that is just adding on top of um the work I did prior. So on top of the work you did prior, that's already giving you confidence. And on top of that, you're you don't really care on what happens to that challenge. That's giving you more confidence. Then when you're on that funded stage, you want to lower your risk. Because if you don't want to you don't want to be the person that you get your first funded account because it already takes a lot of hard work to get a funded account. You you did all that work, and because you got greedy, you lost it immediately. I know that's painful. You just got your funded account and you lost it immediately, but it's okay though. You gotta learn from your mistake. Improve on it. Ask yourself where you got did what you did wrong, and just put things in place so you don't do it again. Uh, And what you're gonna notice is a lot of people know what they have to do. They know what they're doing wrong, and the only reason that it's very hard for them to do the right thing is because they haven't trained their mind to do their to do to, damn to do the right thing basically. Because I'm telling you, discipline really comes from doing the small actions, and the small actions is gonna start by it's gonna the foundation is gonna be starting by like just understanding strategy, risk management, back testing, demo testing, all that. That's the foundation. Once you do that, that's the small work that you're doing. And you doing it over time, it's gonna like it's repetitive actions. The more you do one thing over and over, the better you get at it. So if you're constantly getting used to over risking on your trade, you're gonna know that you're you're not supposed to over risk, but you made it a habit to over risk because that's all you do. Those are just examples, but if you made it a habit during your testing, you in the process, it's gonna be weird if you don't do it, because on top of that, on top of knowing that what's gonna happen if you don't, it's gonna feel really weird. Hope that makes sense. Basically, you could really test it out with anything in life too. Like another one is, let me come up with another example while I'm waiting. Another example of discipline what could be like when you first wake when you first like say you going to school, right? Let's say high school. And when school starts, you gotta wake up at early. Let's just say you gotta wake up at 6 a.m. to get ready for school and stuff like that. At first, when you start waking up for school, you're gonna feel tired. You don't want to do it. It's gonna be hard for you to wake up. You might snooze the alarm, but the more you have to wake up those 5 days during the week at the same time, the more easier it gets because you're doing it. You started off, yeah, it was hard the first time, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. But you have to continue doing it. The moment you stop doing it is the moment you can actually put yourself back at square one. Same thing with trading. Like the moment you stop doing the things that made you money before is the moment that you can lose it all. So that's just an example. Like another thing is like, okay, so you was going to school and you was waking up at 6 a.m. and it was hard in the beginning, but as you keep doing it over and over, it got easier. So what happens the moment you get break? The moment people get break for school or they get summer break, they don't usually wake up at that same time. So it gets harder when they have to go back to school. It's because they didn't still wake up at 6 a.m. That discipline part left. So same thing with trading. If I'm a trader and I stay disciplined for a long period of time, let's just say I stay disciplined for a whole year, but one day I just decided that I'm gonna over risk on this trade, all that hard work can be wiped out like that. So you always have to be disciplined. Those are just examples, but you wanna build it up by just doing it. That's basically what it is. Just doing the action. You don't have to overcome. I feel like if trading was like introduced a different way, a lot more people would find it like more easier to stay disciplined. Like if they knew that trading isn't this thing where you click buttons and you start making money. Yeah, that's the general concept, but it's deeper than that. Trading is more about you first you got to gain the qualifications first. That's what trading is about. You need to actually gain the qualifications. So if there was like just a barrier to entry, like I feel like a lot more people would um see some type of result. But yeah, let me check what's going on the higher time frame. Okay, you see what's going on here. Okay, so this candle closes in the next 17 minutes. What I wanted from Meta is I still wanted to come down a little bit more without taking this out this high in the next 17 minutes. Right there. US 30, I was expecting that same thing, but except it took out the high. So if I was to take an entry on a 5 minute time frame, I need this candle to close and another candle to print, pausing against the 10 or 20. Same thought process. But like I said, in the meantime, while I'm waiting for these things to happen, so this should happen at 7:30. I'm gonna be looking at the lower time frames for potential challenge entries in the meantime. So that's all I'm doing. Yeah. There you go. And if y'all ever have any questions, y'all can always, come to my Instagram. The link is in the description of my videos. And just DM me. I can always ask a question. Like if you ask a question, I'm gonna answer it. I'm not going to ignore you. Cause I actually wanna help other people as well. Like I'm not trying to improve by myself. I'm trying to help y'all improve with me. Even if we don't trade the same system, because the system is probably the least thing that really matters in my opinion. Yeah, you need to have a solid system, but if we look at it, like most people already do have a profitable system, but it's the fact that they judge a profitable system based on another person telling them it's profitable, or they judge a profitable system based on a few winning trades. Yeah, that's how they judge a profitable system, which is very incorrect. No amount of psychology video will help a person if they just found a strategy real quick and they just started trading it, and that's it. All the components not that I say that's probably necessary to have confidence in your system, they're required. You skip one, it's like it's gonna be like a disaster. Like you let's just say you try to demo test without learning a strategy. We all know what demo testing looks like without learning a strategy. I did this before, but when I didn't have a strategy and I first found about trading and I opened up my first demo account, this is how I was demo testing. I just placed high lot sizes, and as soon as they went into profit, I closed the trade, and I thought I was really good at trading. So you gotta keep in mind, there's a lot of people that's doing that. They open up their first demo account, they place high lot sizes, and as soon as the P&L is up $3,000, $5,000, they close it, and then they think they're ready for a live account. And that's because of social media. Yeah. Or you can even have a system. Like you could say like, okay, you have a system, like you found a system online, right? But you didn't backtest that system, right? So if you didn't backtest that system and you try to demo test that, you're not gonna have confidence in what you're doing, actually actually trading on that demo testing. So that's some of the reasons why people may not see success with when they're demo testing, is because they missed out a lot of other components. So in my opinion, when I see somebody that says they don't really like to demo test and they like to back test instead, in my opinion, I feel like you just need both. Or another example is if you understand your system, right? You found a good system, you understand that system really good, but you didn't learn the risk management part of that. You're always going to end up burning yourself no matter how good of a strategy you have. I'm gonna have a video one day about how to scale into trades as well. I'm waiting for an opportunity, like a trade that I can take, that I can scale into like a position. And if I get that type of trade, I can do like an example on what that would look like. Cause a lot of people, they don't really know how to scale into trades, when it's like you have to implement like a certain criteria. Depending on your strategy, you have to implement a certain criteria. On top of that, you have to you have to manage risk a certain way where it's still limiting downside, but if you were to win, you would be increasing your upside. I think I talked about it in yesterday's stream, but it's just simply like, if your first position was you was risking 1%, and you decide to scale into another position, that second position, the at first your first position needs to be at break even. That's one of the requirements. And your second trade that you're placing, instead of increasing your risk, because that's a lot of people's thought process when scaling in, they increase their risk, you decrease the risk. So if your first trade was at 1% and it's at break even, the next trade you risk 0.25%. So if that second position ends up getting stopped out, because you always got to think about the worst case scenario. So if that second position gets stopped out, you only lose 0.25%, if you get what I'm saying. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the first position would get stopped out. Sometimes the first position got saved, but the second position got stopped out. You can still make money. Or if it goes in your direction, that 0.25% is going to add up like crazy alongside with that initial 1% risk. So in total, you would have 1.25% risk. And then as it goes in your favor, you can break even the second position. So that's really like a way. You just have to manage it smart. A lot of people, they're thinking about, this is how a lot of people think. They think about the upside without thinking about the downside. You always have to ask yourself, what is the risk behind what I'm doing? And is it worth the risk? And that's really any type of business too. Any business you start, you gotta ask yourself, what is the risk? Is it worth the risk? And if it is worth the risk, you can, do whatever. Do whatever. Why? Ain't no advice, ain't no financial advice. That's just something I would do. That's something I actually always do. Let's see what's going on. So there's 10 minutes before this candle is going to close for Meta. So just to remind y'all, if for Meta right now, I'm looking for potential like 5-minute entries for my funded accounts. Like basically, if this looks clean, it will look like this. So the 30-minute, by the time it pauses on this 10 EMA, on the 5-minute, it will be by this 50 EMA basically. And what I want to see is a nice relative straight move down like that, to that close to the 50, at the 50, whatever, as long as it's at least close to the 50. And then I'll just wait. It's the same thing for my path tool. I'll move up, small pause as it's rejecting against the 10 and 20, and as long as it doesn't break back down that 10 and 20, I'll take an entry above it to potentially continue to move through the high, and I'll manage it for a potential large trade. But yeah, that's what I'm expecting. US 30 on the other hand, I'm looking for 1 minute entries for a challenge. And how am I doing that? By looking at different time frames. 30 minutes my highest. 6 minute as my validation. So it's basically the same thing I'm expecting from Meta, but just don't think about the time frames basically. So I want price to pause against this 10, and at that point the entry time frame should be at that 50 for a move. So it can basically look like this. Y'all gonna see some similarities as I switch between it. So let's just say, price, we came back lower like this. All right, watch this, y'all. So this US30 on a 1 minute time frame versus Meta on this 5 minute time frame. It looks similar with the move I'm expecting. So this 5 minute time frame. Let's not even think about the time frame. Just the price action. Potentially similar if it can make a move down, like if it can come a little bit closer and set up like this. It's the same general understanding. But yeah. So there's just a bit more waiting I have to do. A bit more waiting. So my only goal with these streams is just to show y'all some of the reality of trading, the amount of patience. Because, like, when you see somebody else, like, okay, if they can be patient, so can you. Like, I really believe that anybody can be patient when it comes to trading. You just gotta put things in place. That's it. So I feel like it can really help if you're trading a different system and you seen another person. Okay, he's being patient with waiting for his setups. Okay, he accepted whatever loss he just took. Okay, he waited all this time just to take a break even. Okay, oh, I see how the system works. He waited, and now his winner, he's managing his winner this way. He's following his rules, and because he followed the process, okay, he just made a 6R gain. Okay, he made a 2R gain. Because my winners, based on the management, my winners can range from anything from 2R or plus or higher than that. But the minimum is 2R, basically. So we got 3 minutes for that candle to close, which is exactly what I wanted to see. Just switching between these markets. I think it's at 10. Should be, yeah. This is exactly what I wanted to see on the 1 minute for US30. Let me see what I'm gonna do in this case, because this one may set up to TradingView taking long to load. My tools. Okay. Yeah, they're both setting up. Either way, so Meta is the one I'm taking for my funded account. Wait, actually, I can't even take it for my funded account. Meta is the one I'm taking for a DarwinX account. If y'all don't know DarwinX, it's basically a platform where you're trading and you're gaining real investor capital and stuff like that. So DarwinX is just something I'm using to gain my track record, so I can attract investors for the long term and stuff like that, and trying to gain some connections through trading. So that's my like really ultimate goal. But the thing is, my funded accounts, they don't have stocks on it, so I'm not gonna be able to trade this for that. Only account I'll be able to trade is DarwinX. And then for US30, I'm gonna trade it for a challenge, because typically what I do is when I'm looking at a different time frame, I'm going to be trading the challenge. Because this year I'm trying to make sure that the time frames I'm using is consistent. But for US30, yeah, I'm gonna be trading a 1 minute time frame for this. What I can say, I can start looking at US30 first, only because it's a 1 minute time frame, so the opportunity is gonna happen faster. So I'm gonna trade a challenge trade, just to make that clear, not a funded account trade. But it's still the same process. So it's like a nice relative straight move down, and all I'm expecting is just for price to start to push up, pause against the 10 or 20, and then I'll set like a buy stop above this high. And that's how like I basically trade. Yeah, so where's my challenge? What I'm gonna also do is, let's see, I'm gonna only aim for a 1-to-1. If I do get a trade for this challenge, I'm only aiming for a 1-to-1. The reason why is because with my funded FX, you have to get a minimum of 3 $500 days. So I might as well knock that out first. And if I could, and 1-to-1s are very easy to really get as well. So if I can knock that out, I'll be closer to passing phase 1 basically. I mean phase 2 for that. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to see. I'm gonna look at TradingView from my phone so I can easily see what's going on. Where is it? US30, new order. Where is it? US30 on my phone. Okay, it made a new high, so I'm waiting for a pause, basically. The pause is basically a candle printing before taking out the previous candle's high. Put stops right here. Pending order. Where's the pending order? There we go. Damn. So price just moved without me right there. So it is what it is. It just moved without me. Cause what I like to look for my entries within this range. So the moment that price cleared the high was my sign to not take a trade, because it already got to the high. It's already too late. So I wanted to basically a move to happen right here, the small pause, and I'll set the buy stop, and I'll break even quick at a 1-to-1 and hold the trade. Basically, hold the trade until price breaks the 10 EMA. Basically, that's my management style. But it is what it is. Sometimes price is gonna move without you, but you gotta accept it. It's about what you do. So since price moved without me, I'm gonna quickly look at Meta over here. And y'all can basically just see the same type of thing. Show y'all one more time. Price is fractal. Right there. Alright, there we go. So, you gotta just understand there's no need to complain when things like this happens, because as a trader, when you signed up to be a trader, you have to accept that sometimes price is gonna move without you. You have to accept that sometimes price may stop you out by the smallest pip or point, whatever. It may stop you out by the smallest one and then go in your direction. It may, if you're a type of trader that has a TP, it may go to your TP and then reverse when it almost hits your TP. But that's the thing, you signed up to be a trader. You have to accept those things. Because we're not focusing on, over here, we don't focus on individual trades. That's not what we focus on. And if you're a person that wants to focus on that, there's tons of YouTubers that's gonna show you videos on that, but it's not gonna really be helpful for you, because all you're gonna do is you're not gonna accept the outcome of every trade that you take. Because one thing you gotta recognize, when you have a strategy, the strategy does not have to do what you want it to do. You would have to have that. I can do all this analysis, but it doesn't matter. Price can do the exact opposite of what I'm expecting it to do. Because it's not about predicting where the market is going to go. It's more about finding what you tested and trading that probability. It's just a probability game. So I'm not here to be right. You're not here to be right at all. I'm here to make money. So you have to have that type of understanding as well. An example like this, in my head, I can call this in my eyes, this is the cleanest type of move so far. But what I'm also saying in my head is, and this doesn't have to happen right here, because in my eyes, based on what I trade, how I trade, this looks extremely clean. But it doesn't mean that for this setup I'm gonna risk a lot more, because that's not in my plan. It just means that I'm just gonna, if it does end up occurring, I'm just gonna take the trade. That's all it means. I feel like my patience have been tested so many times, even last year and this year, because this year usually I don't, when I first start the year, I usually start off very good in terms of the months, and then a couple months, in the mid towards the year, I'll go in and draw down for maybe 3 months. But I usually start the year off good. But this year was the opposite. I started off the year in drawdown. So it's testing my patience. Even last year, one of the things that tested my patience was my payouts. So with one of the firms I was trading with, my payouts had got temporarily capped at 25% profit split. So that also tested my patience, because I had to accept that my payouts weren't going to be big temporarily as well. And then the moment that I get a lot of more funding is the moment I end up going into drawdown immediately. So just like everybody else, my patient is tested. Your patience is going to be tested. But I could have easily just been like complaining about it. I could easily self-sabotage myself and over risk because of those events. But I have to remember that that's not going to help me. What instead, the most likely thing that's going to happen is it's going to put me at square one. So I don't want to be the person that gets funding, then I have to come back on YouTube like I over risked and I have to restart from square one. So just make sure you just don't self-sabotage. Oh, another thing that tested my patience. Last year as well, my 5%ers account that I have right now. Uh, I have I, it's somewhere on my YouTube channel when I documented when I passed it. But if you remember on there, so 5%ers has a minimum of three $500 days, and basically on 5%ers, I had I had thought I hit the $500 day when I really didn't, because based on their time zone, they said the same. It was placed on the same day, basically how they calculated. So I had to be patient to wait for another trade opportunity to pass it, and that's what I did. And that's funny because the same thing happened this year with my funded FX. Like it happened right on the challenge series. Like y'all saw it. I'm I, it went over the profit target, and then I accidentally like closed it a little bit below it. So I was $300 away, and on top of that, I didn't have I had to make $500 instead of 300. So even though I was $300 away from the target, I had to make $500 because I was also missing one more $500 day for my funded fix. So I had to be patient for, I think it was like a week. I had to wait a week to wait for a setup at a 1-to-1. Think about that. Many people can't wait, and that's really what it comes down to, waiting for what you're used to seeing. Waiting for, in your eyes, your 8+ setup. I don't want to be waiting for something I'm not really confident in, because what I want is, I want something where if I take this trade and I end up taking a loss on that trade, I'm happy with it. That's the type of trade with I want to take. Because those type of trades are going to be the same ones that pay you real good. That's the only difference. This still looks good in my eyes. Let me see if anything is happening on US30 real quick. And based on this, nothing is really happening, because now it looks like it's moving sideways here. Like if we look at it right here, yeah, this looks like it's moving sideways now. So instead, like if I was looking for a challenge trade in this area, I'll wait for like a better range to even look at this. So something like, where is my path tool? Maybe like price comes a bit out, then it pauses on the 10, EMA or the 20, and then yeah, from that point I could look for another opportunity. But for now, if this was a good area right here, like I talked about, it would have just came down, set up immediately, and continue higher. Not set up and then come back down and start playing around. So those are the differences. Okay. Yeah. Keep watching this. Yeah, this may set up. Let me get ready. Potentially. So like I said, I can only trade this on my DarwinX account. It'd be cool if I catch a trade on the DarwinX, because I'm really trying to get some those connections and some investor capital. That's what I really want. I'm trying to find where. I would want price to at least close up here. Mm-mm-mm. If it can just push up just a little bit more. I want it to close. The reason why I want it to close above here is if I want price to be the next candle to reject off the 10 and 20, it has to open like above here. But if price opens below here, it's not rejecting off of the 10 and 20. You get what I'm saying? It opens right here. There's no way for it to reject on something. So this candle, if we can like come above so that type of movement can happen, I'll be happy. And I forgot to do this as well. I was supposed to connect my DarwinX account as well on my laptop. So if I do end up taking a trade only for that, I can just show y'all. But I didn't do that. So if I do get a trade, I'll show y'all the whatever P&L tomorrow because I don't want to log in and show like the password and everything because I have to type that in. But yeah. The board game I'm playing. Let me take a look at Bitcoin too. Yeah, I kind of figured it was gonna do that. I was like, it's probably gonna chop around the whole session, but let's go back to our, let's go back to Meta. Yeah, this looks extremely good. One thing y'all gotta realize too, when the investors that, the people that run Darwinex or hedge funds, they don't look for like crazy returns. They really be looking for people that can do at least 1 to 2% per month as well. And the only thing they really look for is like basically, can you minimize your drawdowns? Um they don't like deep drawdowns. Basically, they prefer less returns for more for better drawdown. But the only thing I could say is if you go for them, that's mainly like a long term play. I still recommend like you can still trade with preference, but you can trade both of them as well, the Darwinex, because the only thing is their profit splits is 15%. It's not a lot, but the goal is to like actually the main goal with it is to build like your long term track record. I'm talking about 5 years, 10 years, stuff that, and along the way you're gonna be gaining a lot of capital from investors if your track record is good. Like I heard people on there with like 10 million, 20 million um of investor capital. So it's like basically not only do you get that type of capital, you can basically it opens doors. Okay, this trader is a really good trader. You get what I'm saying? So there's like opportunities. That's my reason for it. Uh, I wonder what else I could talk about while I'm waiting. One more advice is just focus on your own journey. Everybody's journey is different. If you see somebody the same age as you, um, and they have more results, just feel inspired instead of like comparing. Because you on your own journey, and I can guarantee you, if you stick to the journey, stick to the process, and you don't give up, you're eventually gonna make it. It all stems from the fact that failure only happens when you quit. So if you don't quit and you keep going at it, keep doing less of what doesn't work, doing more of what does work in terms of process, you know, that's how you gonna improve. But it's your own journey. Let's see, is it gonna close up there? Let me prepare everything now, because it might close up there. Meta. Yeah. Let me. Okay, if we can get this candle to pause right there, I'll take that entry. Let me see. .11. Yeah. 83.41. Okay, it took out the next high. I'm trying to figure out this calculation thing. I ain't gonna lie, I'm trying to figure out this calculation for stocks. I have a. I can't find how you calculate these stocks. I'm trying to figure that out. Let me try this again. Okay. That can't be right. Ain't going. I think I figured it out. I think I figured it out. I'm not sure. Hopefully this is the right risk. But I'm gonna wait for that candle to close, and I'm gonna place the order. Okay, that high got taken out, so I gotta wait again. Cause this is my first time actually trying to trade a stock. So let's see if I'm gonna make a mistake, because I'm here looking up the calculators for this. So I'm hopefully this is the right. It actually calculated the right risk. So I'm just waiting right now because it's the same type of setup right here. Still waiting. Waiting. So we're waiting for this candle to close and we're waiting for a pause. But if price takes out the high, then it just moved without us. doing. Still not at that high. Looks like it's just gonna take out that overall high. Yeah, price just moved without us. It is what it is. So this is what I'm expecting now. So it's 10:04 right now. So let me see. So the high got taken out. We go on this 30-minute time frame. It's basically playing out. So we have the flush right here. So we have the flush right here. And validation break of structure 1. Validation break of structure 2. That's a 0. 2. Yeah. So what I'm expecting now is price can either, it wouldn't be bad if price, because the way how clean this move did, if it can, like if it came out a little bit more and then it reflushed down and then created like a setup somewhere I can get involved, then I can set that entry. So how would that look on the higher time frame? That would probably look like this. So if it can come up a bit more, right, and we have a pause, pausing against either the 10 or 20, then I believe it will look just as good. So basically a nice move down and it sets up immediately right there. So y'all just witnessed two times that I was looking for a trade, even though they were for different accounts. 2 times I was looking for a trade and it ended up moving without me. US 30. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. US 30 is actually looking good for my funded account. Yes, finally. So what we have here, we have the flush on a 30, right? We had the first potential break of structure 1. We have time to label it. I could label this for y'all. Let me. All right, let me show y'all real quick. So this 30-minute, this is the validation break of structure 1. This is exactly what I was expecting when I analyzed this. So now my job is just to wait on this 5-minute. I'm also going to have this one close by as well, because I have both of my accounts basically have different, how can I say it, different pricing basically. So my funded FX has this pricing. You can see the price differences. Wait, actually they kind of, they still look similar. Am I on the right one? Let me make sure. Let me get prepared before, because they have huge price differences from what I've seen. Let me see. Watch list. Like I said, stay tuned for that video, y'all. On Sunday for reviewing my trades in April. Stay tuned for that video. Let's see. Where is it? There it is. Where is it? 41, 110. Yeah, there is. It's a bit small, but yeah, you can see the small price differences. It does matter. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is this. So just so y'all can see it, clear straight move down, Just waiting for this type of movement. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this, like, I'm gonna open it up like this, because my whole idea is to make sure everything is getting ready, so I'm not rushing. Okay, yeah, that was a good close right there. If we can pause and it's rejecting, let me get rid of this because it's kind of in the way. Okay, it made a new high, but if we can get the next candle that is rejecting against the MAs, then before taking out the high, I will take the on trade entry. Let me get this ready too. And this should be US 30 right here. Pending. Just like that. Alright. I'm gonna be looking at TradingView on my phone so it's easier. Hold on. There we go. Sorry if y'all can hear my dog. Just woke up. Let me see. Somewhere above here. Something like this makes sense to me. I'm gonna do it for both because of the price difference. Just put it above here. Something simple. What the spreads looking like? Spreads ain't bad. There we go. Okay, it made a new high. Here we go. Just following along with it. I'm just concentrating right now. Actually, I could put it a stop right here. I don't know, I like it being exactly, there we go. All right, so basically I got my orders set up right here. And basically what I'm gonna do is I'm waiting for the pause. So if price can pause right here, it doesn't re-break through that 20. I'll set up the buy stop exactly like this for both of my accounts right here. I would use a trade copier, but I have my DarwinX account as the main account, and DarwinX don't have US30, so, and because of the price differences as well, as it's gonna be weird basically. So waiting for 4 minutes. If this candle can print before taking out that high, and before and it doesn't re-break through that 20, then I'll set up the order. Solo waiting game now. All a waiting game. So I'm gonna look at it from my phone, and then we're gonna I'm waiting on here to get involved. Yeah. I'm trying to see if it's good enough for the spreads. Yeah, it should be good enough for. Alright. There we go. So I'm just waiting now. I'm looking at my phone to see if it's still valid for me to take a trade. Got a minute 40. Got a minute left. And got 30 seconds. Four, three, two. Alright, I'm gonna set it up. So right here, send the order. Alright. Decisions. That's what I meant. All right, so I got the order set up. This is how the trade looks. So simply I will be in the trade if price breaks. I mean, not breaks, but gets above the high. If price ends up failing, breaking back through that 20, then I'll cancel the order. But yeah. And then if I do get this trade, I'm gonna screenshot this so I can add it into my journal, because that's how we improve. We just screenshot our trades, write down what we did, and yeah, we can always look back at it. So it looks like we're gonna get tagged in. Okay, so we're tagged into the trade right here, as you can see. Are we tagged in here yet? We're not tagged in on here yet. There we go. So we're tagged into the trade. We're gonna screenshot this image. I'm gonna put it in a bit later. So I'm basically just screenshotting all the images of the time frames I'm using. There we go. And there we go. And then we're gonna screenshot the weekly as well, because I also used the weekly on my buys and why I wanted to see some buys. And now simply what I'm gonna do is, my management is just a quick 1-to-1 break even area, or if price makes like a fractal move up, pause before that 1-to-1, and it goes through that high, then I'll break even. So yep. What I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna keep it on the P&L right here, so y'all can just see the P&L. And we just gonna wait and see what it does. Then we're gonna move this out the way. There we go. And then what I can do is I'm gonna prepare my position to be at break even. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over here, modify position, just in case I do get a break even, I can immediately do it for both accounts. 41232.82. So there we go. So just in case, and I can easily just move this up like that. Looks like we're going to get taken out for a loss. We're just seeing if price wants to stop us out. And then if we get stopped out, we're just going to take our images and then we're going to talk about the plan. All right, so we got stopped out right here. So let me show y'all close position. We got stopped out for a loss. And why? I'm still in the position. Interesting. Well, they do have different prices. So we're just going to wait for this one to get stopped out as well. I'm going to still take the images because it does look like I'm going to get stopped out right here too. Copy image. Download image. And we can download the image like this. We don't need to take a picture of the weekly because the weekly is practically going to look the same. And I'm going to put those images all after. So what is my game plan basically? My game plan is simple. So I'm gonna look at this right here to see if there's can be another opportunity. And what I see here is there's slightly another opportunity right above here. And one of my rules is no more than 2 losses in a day or 3 losses total in a week. So there is a nice opportunity above here. So what I'm going to do is, so this one is still in the trade. What I can do is I'll place a buy stop above here, above this high right here for an opportunity. And if price ends up re-breaking this 20, I'm going to just cancel the order. So that's what my game plan is going to be. So I'm going to set another one. Right above this high. Oh, that's my stops. Right there. Like that. That looks decent. And something like, oh, I put my, how did I do that again? Put pending order above right here and put that right there. Let's see, what is this? 12, 9. Let's see, what is it doing? So I probably got stopped out of the other one. Did I get stopped out yet? That's weird. How did I get stopped out? Oh, I'm here forgetting the price. The price differences mess with my head. But I know this is still good because I know how much I'm risking on this. That's the thing. 41,175. $41,175. So that's around. Yeah, I should be stopped out now. There we go. I'm like, yo, I was confused about that. All right, there we go. So there's an entry we can put up right here on US 30. What does it look on here? Like that. Stops would probably be right here. And then let's do the buy stop. Pen and order right there. Then we can set up another one right here since this position got stopped out. Buy order. Stop. So 41 262 2.17 41 17 8.82. Lower the risk. And then, yeah, double check. Send the order in. All right. So basically what I have here is another order. So let me show y'all the setup. So the first one was right here. So we had the nice move down. Then I took this one right here, resulted in a loss. But this one right here still looks relatively clean if you look at it like this. Move down, move up, and basically I'm expecting that. So if price ends up breaking through that 20 like I talk about, the red line, then I end up canceling the order. And yeah. Crazy thing is very rare for me to have like 2 trades in a single day. But I still do have that rule of no more than 2 losses in a day and no more than 3 in a week. Just a waiting game now. Gotta see where this one closes. And then let me tell y'all so this as well too. So the moment that price ends up, if it does this where it breaks through and it's it reflush back to that 50, then I'm gonna completely ignore this area right here, because at that point it didn't do what I expected. And what I like to see is price come down, set up immediately, basically. So the moment it fails, that wouldn't be like setting up immediately. That would basically be price just playing around. So yeah. Just waiting game. Okay, we got a minute to see what this candle's gonna do. Okay, let's see. What's the next candle gonna do? Is it gonna start going up, or is it gonna start pushing back down to this 50? Yeah, it's probably gonna, let's see. It's gonna push down. The boring part of trading, the waiting part. Other than US 30, there's really nothing else that looks like good in my eyes in terms of like a 5 minute on entry. Bitcoin actually ended up breaking out. I did not expect it to do it at this session. But yeah. Will we get tagged in again? So if you were to think of price fractally, right? Basically this, if you were a lower time frame trader, would look like, okay, so price had flushed. This will basically be like a validation break of structure 1 potentially for a lower time frame trader. So that's why it's kind of aligning with the higher time frame entry of this 5 minutes, aligning with a lower time frame trader that's looking to probably get involved on with a confirmation that looks like this on a lower time frame. So that's how it aligns. And then the moment that the idea behind the moment that price re-breaks that 20 is because it's most likely to reflush to that 50, which at that point there's nothing to do. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of alignment and why I still have my order set up right here. So I make sure to try to explain to y'all why I have certain things set up the way I do. And then in terms of stop loss, my whole idea of it is just to have a general area, because usually my good entries are just going to go. The ones that are gonna be losses either way are gonna just stop out the whole area either way. So I might as well get a better risk to reward out of it by just doing like a decent size stop loss. Basically, that's my whole idea behind it. Wonder if there's anything I could talk about while I'm waiting. Nope. Yeah, that's giving me proof that at this point I can just cancel the orders. So let me cancel this right here. Cancel. And then cancel order. Just like that. So what did we do today? We took a loss. You can probably just learn about like just not getting attached to the setup. That's it. So what am I gonna do today? Well, what I would wait for if I was looking for another opportunity for US30 would be something like this, where we basically make a new range. I probably want a new range. Wait for the same thing. It pauses on the 10, and then I wait for the confirmation. That's it. That's what I would wait for. So how long would that take? So assuming, so it's 11. This candle closes at 11. If we assume a move happens out of this, that would be 11:30. And then we would have to have a pause. At that time, it would be 12 o'clock. So it wouldn't be worth waiting for that type of move, because at that point, if assuming that it just pushes out now, it will probably pause at the 10 around 11 o'clock if it wanted to set up right now. But that's gonna be too late by then. Meta, let me see. Meta closes like this. So Meta may be good. It could set up around 11:30 because we have a move out of this area. And we probably can create the validation breaker structure 3 if I get a pause and price pauses against that 10 right there. And I can look for confirmations on the lower time frame. So by the time this candle closes, it'll be 11. And if it wants to pause, it will be 11:30. But the moment price takes out this high, I can just be like, okay, I'm not gonna watch Meta for now. So Meta still looks good to watch. US30, not willing to wait. Bitcoin I could wait for as well. Bitcoin looks actually good now, has some clarity. So what we have here is, well, I thought this was gonna be the validation breaker structure 1, but it kind of broke that 20 and came to that 50. So I call this the flush right here. Validation breaker structure 1 is probably going to be somewhere up here. So what I'm expecting is this. So let me delete this. It's for price to the next candle that prints is to pause against the 10. And I could look for opportunities on the lower time frame on that 5-minute. So that's what I'm basically going to be looking for. Nothing more, nothing less. So same thing like Meta. If the next candle opens up and immediately takes out the high, then I can end the stream, because at that point it's going to take longer for a price to even set up and it's getting late. So the next candle that prints, I wanted to immediately just start coming down, because those are the only two ones that look good to me in my eyes. Interesting. USD CAD actually starting to look clear now. Look at this. So if we look at this right here, before we had this context flush right here, price flush to the MAs, and before I talked about that, I didn't want to look for opportunities until price starts to prove itself by moving away. And at that point, price would be trending. So what we have here is we have the validation flush. And basically, I'm waiting for the validation breaks of structure. So it created one right here. There's a validation break of structure 1. It could reset something up here. So let me check out a lower time frame. Yeah. So basically, if the next candle that prints can also do the same thing that I'm expecting for Bitcoin and Meta, is we don't take out the low and we immediately pause against the 10 or 20, then I can look for confirmations. So that should, if everything goes according to what I'm expecting, it should happen to around 11:30 basically. But if it immediately takes out the low, I'm not looking at USD on CAD for this session, because it's going to just take a little bit longer for it to set up. And it's Friday. The market is going to close. So I can put this up here. Bitcoin, USD CAD, and Meta. I'm going to put US30 in blue. Not because it's not a good market, only because it's probably going to set up. I'm not going to look at it for this session. It's probably going to set up like next week. Yeah. We got 12 seconds left. Let's see what it does. Is it going to take out the high? Or is it going to do what I'm expecting? You gotta learn to just immediately just come up with your plan. Cause I could sit here and be fixated about that loss, or I can move on and continue to trade the same system. That's really it. Like, when it comes down to it, the only work you're doing is pressing buttons according to the system. Especially when you use that trick I told before on the stream about when you're following your system throughout your years, count your wins, count your losses. You should, like, if you know you have a 30% win rate, and you're take like 100 trades per year, for an example, expect 70 losses already. Off that, count your losses and only expect 30 wins. Because at the end of the day, when you expect those 70 losses and 30 wins, then you should end up profitable if you have a positive R. That's if your system tells you. If your system tells you you have a 50% win rate, then expect 50 losses and count those losses. Expect 50 wins and count those wins. Let me see. Did it take out that high? I can't tell. Yup. It's very hard to tell, but this one took out that high. So I'm going to just put this in blue because it's going to take even longer to set up. And I know that crypto doesn't close and it's open, but I'm not trying to stay on the charts. Let's see. USD CAD so far moving good. It didn't take out that low. So we just needed to pause against the 10 for opportunities. Meta, let's see, did it take out that high? Yeah, Meta took out that high right here. So I can just move this in blue. So the only one that I'm watching is USD CAD. And the moment it takes out this low is the moment I hop off the charts. The only trade review I have to do for today, because it's the end of the week, is that one trade I took today. so I can just look over it. In my opinion, based on what I see, I felt like I took that trade really good, but I'm gonna still look over it when I put it in my journal because it's the end of the week. And I already reviewed my other trades because I edited it for that YouTube video that's dropping on Sunday. So yeah, make sure y'all do y'all trade reviews today and y'all monthly trade reviews if you didn't do it yet. Mm-hmm. I ain't gonna lie, I think they might be a lower time frame opportunity I could take for a challenge while I wait. Yeah, it may be doing the same thing for ew. Yeah, I didn't take that trade right there. Yeah, what I'm gonna do is while I'm waiting for my funded account trade opportunity, I'm gonna take a challenge trade. If price can pause against right here, perfect. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna take a challenge trade, type of trade for a 1 minute. So if this candle can close right here in the next 26 seconds, same type of thought process. Yeah, this looks actually good for a 1 minute. Just a nice solid move here. And then if price can do this, that's all I'm expecting right there. And either way, if this move doesn't happen, all it means for me is it's probably gonna set something up on a higher time frame. So if it ends up basically, since I'm expecting a drop for a lower time frame, if it ends up doing the opposite, at that point it's probably could be at this 10 on a higher time frame. Because what you got to understand, structure needs to happen on all time frames. So that's why one move may not hold on one time frame, but it's gonna hold on another time frame. Examples of this is like this whole drop right here. This move was probably getting held on a lower time frame, like probably the seconds time frame, where prices pausing against the 10 and 20 on the seconds time frame as it moves lower. But you got to understand that doesn't happen on all time every time on your own given time frame. So that's why price sometimes can disrespect it. So the only thing you can do in those times is just you're managing your risk. Okay, it could come to that 20. So still waiting. Hope y'all enjoyed this stream though. I felt like I gave a lot of value. Okay, it's starting to move according. I'm gonna just watch it. I'm eyeing it. Let me get this account right here out. Let me get everything prepared. Okay, let me see if it's worth staying on the chart. It could potentially do something on a 5. Alright, let me jump back up. I'm trying to see if it's worth me staying on the chart. Five, 11:20. Possibly. Alright, let's see what's going on. Honestly, I'm thinking about just ending the stream only because, like, I don't know, it is getting kind of late. It could set up something where it comes close to it, then it sets up. But I'm gonna just end the stream because it's a Friday. Yeah. So I'm gonna see y'all on Monday. Update y'all on the accounts. You know, I'm gonna put in the trade we took today into my journal. Yeah.